Fox 61 Breaking News now.
We're following breaking news out of Windsor Locks. This is a viewer photo showing the scene of a fire at the Bradley Inn taken around 8 p.m. from the DoubleTree across the street. The property was condemned back in February. We sent a crew to the scene and found the area clear, but we are working to learn more about what happened, and we'll bring you updates as soon as we get new information. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Brent Hart.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Our top story tonight is concerned parents gathered at a Board of Education forum in Hartford.
They asked urgent questions and voiced concerns about the future of local schools and, most importantly, the $22 million deficit for 2026. Here's Fox 61's Kay Pattyfoot.
Tonight, parents voiced concerns over lack of services and extracurricular activities in Hartford schools. They say in particular, music and arts are not available to students, which is forcing them to go to schools outside of the district. Hartford Public Schools is facing a $22 million deficit, and school officials say they cannot cut anymore. Superintendent Dr. Andre Townsell says it's not fair to the students.
Over the last 10 years, we cut $200 million and 600 jobs. We will no longer balance our budget on the backs of kids. And the good news is our state is listening to us. Our city is listening to us.
Parents and grandparents like Jennifer Perez Caraballo and Annette Armstrong say their students and other kids in the city are feeling the impacts of cuts from previous years.
It's either art or music who is missing or both. We come from a predominantly Black and brown community where music has played such a pivotal role, not just in our resistance, but also our ability to achieve so many different things as a community, so many different rights. And so I do actually think that it's not only inequitable to do so, but it's also culturally incompetent and just not true to our history.
There's a lot of community programs that have dance, they have drum, they have ballet, they have music. We have to think about that. They can take those programs that's in the community, collaborate it with the schools, and then the kids will be better off.
Parents, community members, and school officials were able to talk about the deficit and what can be improved in the district.
I think it shows the community is really invested in what's happening in Hartford Public Schools in the budget. And, we've really been saying we can't make any more cuts. We've been trying to explain the structural issues. And I think families are hearing that. They felt it. They know we've made cuts over time. And we're really trying to partner with them to figure out what the solution is.
Richards also broke down the biggest driver in the deficit.
Tuition we pay when students don't attend our schools. So either choice schools or private special education programs. And we also pay for some of that transportation if it's specialized transportation. That's about a third of our budget next year.
She says another factor is the cost of special education services.
We do see sometimes when a student leaves and goes to a different school system, a suburban school, then sometimes they get identified. I don't have the data on that exactly, but it is something we've seen is sometimes they're not identified in Hartford. Then when they go somewhere else, they are identified. And then, of course, we're paying for those services for the student in that school.
There will be a public hearing at the next Board of Education meeting on April 21st. In Hartford, Kay Pattyfoot, Fox 61.
A cooler than average day, but I don't think anybody would complain. Sunny skies, temperatures around 50 degrees, and we do have another cold morning in store for tomorrow with temperatures beginning below freezing. But after that, we will see the numbers start to rebound later this week. By Friday, we're looking at highs in the 60s, and early next week, we could see 70s, maybe even 80s away from the shoreline. We're also looking at a dry, sunny stretch, which means great weather for you if you want to spend time outside or go for long walks, but not so great for the fire weather risk. And there is an increased risk for brush fires in the days ahead, especially tomorrow, because there will be a bit of a breeze. Overnight tonight, we're looking at temperatures near 30 degrees. And tomorrow, it'll be a bit breezy, winds out of the south, starting at 5 to 10, but they could increase the gusts as we head through the afternoon. Temperatures will be around 50 for the shoreline, low to mid 50s inland, including 55 in Colchester and 55 in Burlington. And then we continue to go up in the days ahead. We'll talk about the weekend forecast and beyond coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. A lawsuit has been filed against an Avon daycare after a staff member was accused of inappropriate contact with a child. The daycare, Bright Path, says it has not yet been formally served with the complaint. The lawsuit, filed by attorney Tim O'Keefe, claims the center failed to properly supervise and protect children in its care. Avon police confirmed they arrested staff member Jan Carlos Barrios Otero on charges of sexual assault and risk of injury to a minor. The company says once it receives the complaint, it will follow the legal process. The lawsuit seeks $15,000 in damages. Well, police say an unloaded firearm was found inside a Middletown high schooler's backpack this morning. The school went into a brief shelter in place for the investigation. Authorities say no one was hurt or threatened. Once officials took the firearm, the shelter in place was lifted and everyone went back to class. Officers stayed on campus just to be safe. There's no word yet if the student has been charged.
The family of a woman who died in Hartford police custody says her death was preventable. Wrongful death lawsuit has now been filed. Linda Prelo was arrested about 2 years ago on theft and probation violation charges. An inspector general report says she told officers she had recently used fentanyl and was experiencing withdrawal symptoms. She was later found unresponsive and pronounced dead at the hospital. The lawsuit claims officers ignored warning signs and failed to provide proper medical care or monitor her condition. Her family says negligence and reckless actions violated her rights and led to her death.
East Hartford police say a man assaulted a police K9 during an arrest last night. Officers say Kyrone Williams is linked to multiple thefts and police pursuits in recent weeks. Police say when they tried to pull him over, he ran. K9 Scorso eventually found him hiding, but police say Williams punched the dog in the head and body. Officers used pepper spray and a taser to try to take him into custody, but they say he still resisted. Williams was taken to a hospital before being taken to police headquarters. And police say Scorso suffered minor injuries. Williams is expected in court later this month. We have continuing coverage tonight. New Haven police say after several months of investigating, they've made an arrest in a murder from back in August.
The victim, Dennis Atkinson, was found shot several times on a sidewalk. Fox 61's Tim Latow shares what police say led up to that deadly shooting.
These new details come after a 7-month-long investigation. Police say this murder of a father of 3 all stemmed from a dispute over money.
I just miss the smile. I just miss his face. I just miss him hugging me so tight.
More than 7 months later, the loss of 40-year-old Dennis Atkinson is just as raw. A father of 3, Atkinson had a large, close-knit, extended family. He also worked for years for New Haven's Town Green District to help keep the area clean and safe.
Dennis is someone that was known as Man by the people that he worked with, and was someone that brought a lot of joy and dedication to the job.
Police say Atkinson was shot multiple times in the torso in the early hours of August 18th. He died in the hospital. But last week, police were able to identify 26-year-old Vincent Watts as a suspect and took him into custody.
I also want to say thank you to the New Haven police for not giving up on my family, for giving us this closure, for giving this man the justice that he deserved.
Watts is now being held on a $2.5 million bond for murder and gun charges. According to police, the shooting resulted from a dispute over money. Family members say they and Atkinson knew Watts personally.
I heard the name Vincent. Something took over me. Just seeing my family in pain.
Even though the family knew Watts, police say it took more than 7 months to identify him as a suspect. Acting Chief David Zanelli says it wouldn't have been possible without the information they gathered from community members.
The community assistance was paramount. If we didn't have that, we'd be in a lot more trouble, but the fact that people were coming forward with information was very successful for us.
The Atkinson family says they'll finally reach closure once justice has been reached in court. They're saddened that another family may be separated from their loved one if Watts is found guilty. In New Haven, Tim Latow, Fox 61.
Waterbury neighbors are raising concerns after firefighters found low water flow from hydrants during a house fire earlier this week.
Now Waterbury's mayor is directing multiple city departments to immediately investigate what happened and add safeguards to prevent similar issues in the future.
Fox 61's Valerie Moravi talked to the homeowner.
There's a lot of mix of emotions shared among neighbors who describe the area as a tight community. And as they demand action, they also share support and sympathy for the homeowner who goes by Tony. Now, he did not want to be on camera, but he tells me the fire not only damaged his home, but it also took years of memories with it.
The city of Waterbury has requested Police Chief Fernando Españolo to initiate a new comprehensive investigation surrounding the insufficient water flow from hydrants on Bennett Avenue. During a press conference Tuesday, fire officials said it delayed the response time by 20 minutes.
And I stood there while the house, the garage was burning, then the cars, then the house, and nobody was spraying water at the house.
That was homeowner who goes by Tony still trying to make sense of what happened. On Wednesday, Tony told Fox 61 he was glad no one was hurt and he hoped this doesn't happen again. Meanwhile, Mayor Paul Portnerowski Jr. has directed both fire chief and water officials to work together on the development of a written citywide action plan to immediately assess all fire hydrants. The plan would identify hydrants with insufficient water flow, outline steps to fix any deficiencies, and establish procedures to ensure the fire department has real-time awareness of hydrant performance across the city. In a statement, Mayor Portnerowski said in part, quote, "Public safety is our highest priority. We're taking a hard look at our systems, holding ourselves accountable, and implementing the necessary measures to ensure our firefighters have the resources they need to respond effectively." End quote. Fox 61 spoke to several neighbors in the area off camera, and they told us they will come together to be the voice of their community, and they hope the city keeps its word to take action and assess all hydrants, starting on Bennett Avenue.
And as of now, Mayor Portnerowski has requested a plan to be submitted within a week. In Waterbury, Valerie Moravi, Fox 61.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says American troops will stay in the Middle East to ensure Iran follows a recent ceasefire. Iran has reportedly agreed to keep the Strait of Hormuz open. The strait's a key route for global oil shipments, but Iranian state media is warning the strait could close if regional fighting continues. U.S. leaders say the ceasefire is temporary and forces will stay in place to monitor the situation.